Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my Ableton Live tutorial series. This week I'm going to be going over recording MIDI drums into your Ableton project and adding clips in session mode. So let's get started. Last week we got our template set up and got our drum racks ready to add sounds into. So what I'm going to do now is go into my personal files and add different drum sounds into the drum rack. And also, if you don't have any sounds, you can go up here and if you want to, you could drag a drum kit over and test out what all the different sounds sound like by hitting this play button. Ooh. And if you find one you like, you can drag and drop it into your empty drum rack. So that's pretty neat. So now I'm just going to go through and add bass drum first. You can hit your arrow key to scroll up and down and test out what it sounds like. I'm going to take this opportunity to save, so I'm hitting Shift Command S for save as. Save this as tutorial or whatever you want it to be named. Ableton, because I want it to have its own project folder. Okay, so once you have a good amount of sounds added to your drum rack, if you want, you could save this by hitting this save button right here, and you can save this as favorite drums 1 or whatever you want. So then you can go back to your user library, and under drum racks it will have your user preferences, all of your saved ones. So that's a good way to get what you want. Yeah, so I'm just playing this on my computer keyboard. Here we want to make sure the keyboard button up here at the top right is selected, and this will let you play the MIDI notes just by tapping them out on your keyboard. So let's record a little beat into the MIDI track. I want to change the tempo to 127. So I just double clicked, I typed in 127 and I hit enter. So we want to make sure this track is armed. Go up here. If you select the metronome will play when you hit record. Hit the record button. It'll give you a 4 count in. If you double click on it, you can go over here and it sounds a little bit off. So you can either adjust it manually, or you can make sure you're zoomed in the right amount. Try Command U. Okay, that sounds right. Nice. So if you want this loop to stop playing, you can hit the stop button, and that will stop this track. If you want to stop all the tracks, you hit this button. But that's a good start. I want to duplicate that sound, so I just hit alternate or option, and I dragged that down to create more. Now we want to add some hi-hats. So I'm going to start the second one. Find the hi-hats down here. Now we're going to take our pen tool and add in the hi-hats manually. So expand this drum rack so we can mix those hi-hats in. You don't want the hi-hats to be as loud as your main kick. You kind of want it to blend in. We can pan these claps to the left a little bit. Let's actually layer these claps now. So we double click on the clip and we can... Another way to do this is to click and drag. Select all these claps, alternate, drag upwards. And if you want to adjust the volume of those right away while they're still selected, you can drag the volume down here. And kind of mix them in. And see how when we had it all the way up, we clip over on the right over here. You want to mix all of your beats within this area so it doesn't clip on the master. So you don't want to be hitting the red. For this third beat, turn the computer keyboard back on. Now we're going to do a halftime speed beat that would happen maybe after a big build up or a drop. Now I want to clean that up, so let's make sure this stopped at the right time, right at the 5. Just go in here and edit the MIDI notes until it sounds right. Or you can try Command U and setting the grid at different times and trying to quantize it. You could do that too. That sounds pretty good. I want to layer these claps again so it sounds just as built up. And let's add hi-hats. Okay, and you don't have to do this trill if you don't want to. I like how it sounds right in the beginning. But you can, play up your hi-hat patterns. You can do something different. Let's listen to it without the metronome for a second. Let's adjust this EQ and we'll see if that stops this clipping that's happening. Well, since it seems to be only happening on that one clap, let's add a limiter. Go over to Audio Effects, double click on your limiter. That will keep your master track from clipping. So now, as you can see, we have 3 different drum patterns. I have this upbeat one, upbeat with a hi-hat, and a halftime with a hi-hat. So you see, as you hit this play, it's gonna always change it on the next first bar because you have it set over here. So let's see what happens when we mess with this. I'm gonna set it to 8th note and click the next scene. It changes it much faster. And I like to be able to prepare. So this is nice if you're trying to tap out some drums within, I've seen some crazy setups, and some people drop drum samples right into here and then map those to their MIDI controllers, and then they would have this set to none, so it triggers immediately. But for what we're doing here, we're gonna set this, keep that at 1 bar. Okay. So that's what I'm gonna cover for the drums right now. You can experiment with different patterns, but it's really nice to just come up with like 3 different drum patterns that you can use in the song, maybe more than that even, because it'll add variety within your song. And that's what makes it interesting. Let's try layering our bass drum too. So Option or alternate and drag. So let's do that to this one too. And just turn that down a little so it's not so blaring. Now for your claps, you can pan those in different directions. So these claps that I added, I'm going to pan one to the right and one to the left to give it more depth. Okay, another thing you could do is add a little glue compressor. This is really nice for drums. I want to turn the attack all the way down. The release, you could turn that up a little or leave it where it is. And you just want to add a little bit of compressor. So for mixing your drums, this EQ8 has a really nice waveform now. That's really awesome that they updated that. You can see everything that's happening. So if you want to tune this in, you can. You can boost the bass a little if you want. But that's already hitting pretty high. You don't need... your bass will get distorted if you try and really boost it like up here. Okay, well thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope this was helpful to you. Make sure you subscribe if you have not. So next week we're going to be adding some audio instruments and also some Midi instruments. We're going to start building up the rest of this song. And let me know what you think in the comments below, or if you have any questions or comments. Talk to you guys later. Bye!